Good evening. As at today, April 15th, the total number of confirmed positive COVID cases stands at 85, of which 15 individuals have recovered and none are found in critical condition. It has been almost 1 month since the first positive COVID case was identified and announced in Ethiopia, and since then the government has been taking various incremental measures in order to mitigate and contain the spread of COVID-19, including decreeing a state of emergency as of late. Since the April 8th enactment of the state of emergency proclamation by the Council of Ministers and the subsequent endorsement of the proclamation by the House of People's Representatives, the detailed regulations have also been issued on April 11th. The state of emergency proclamation enacted is to counter and control the spread of COVID-19 and mitigate its impact. And through the adoption of the regulation, it stipulates the specific details of which are the suspended rights and which are the measures to be taken. As a result, it prohibits up to 27 activities, it imposes up to 18 duties, and it defines the establishment of a ministerial committee and their related powers and responsibilities in overseeing the state of emergency. These prohibitions and impositions of duties are binding upon all Ethiopians and non-Ethiopians that are residing within the country, and this also refers to diplomats. The Deputy Prime Minister is the one who has been tasked with chairing the Ministerial Committee. This Ministerial Committee is mandated to oversee the implementation of the State of Emergency Proclamation, as well as the enforcement of the related regulations. In relation, the Ministerial Committee met with members of the Federal Law Enforcement and Security Apparatus on Monday, April 13th, to discuss the details of prohibitions and duties which they are mandated to enforce. A similar discussion was also held on April 14th virtually with regional law enforcement and security apparatus as well. And as a result, the Ministerial Committee has enforced all regional and federal law enforcement agents to observe and enforce all regulations nationwide, including through the commensurate use of force. It is to be noted that the regulation also indicates miscellaneous provisions, which comprise the suspension of the Criminal Procedure Code and the criminal procedural provisions as well, for the duration of the state of emergency period. However, federal and regional courts are obligated to set up dedicated benches in the interim to handle these cases of state of emergency violations as they arise. It is also important to emphasize once again that the state of emergency regulation is drawn with the purpose of countering and controlling the spread of COVID-19 and mitigating the humanitarian, social, economic, and political damages that could be caused as a result of the spread of COVID-19 within Ethiopia. Based on continuous assessments that will be undertaken on the severity of COVID-19 threats, the Ministerial Committee overseeing the state of emergency will evaluate whether to further strengthen prohibitions and duties, or to lift the duties and prohibitions that have been set already. The other COVID-19 prevention ministerial subcommittees have also continued undertaking various prevention and mitigation tasks that they have planned over the past few weeks. Part of this includes the identification of the symptomatic through house-to-house visits and also information sharing, which has been started in various cities, and this is also going to be expanded throughout the country. However, we need to note here that the identification task of the symptomatic is not to be confused with testing. Relatedly, the number of laboratories performing testing has increased to a total of 8 nationally, and additional sites with fulfilled equipment will be initiated in the coming 1 to 2 weeks. The Ministry of Health is also in its final preparations to increase the daily testing capacity of these sites, which is also a critical component of the mitigation strategy that has been put in place. Similarly, contact tracing has also been expanded with more than 800 contacts of current COVID-19 positive patients that have been traced and isolated or quarantined. Other tasks related to the subcommittees that have been set up as part of the ministerial task force, the ICT subcommittee has also been addressing disruption in learning, communication, and service provision that COVID-19 prevention measures have introduced. The subcommittee is in the process of developing 4 particular solutions. Firstly, national call centers have been set up to report or to enable the reporting of COVID-19 suspected cases. Relatedly, with regards to information sharing, a virtual information exchange and meetings platform has also been set up for federal entities to be able to convene online meetings, as well as for federal and regional counterparts also to convene online, discuss, and plan accordingly. Secondly, a national digital payments platform is also one of the tasks that the ICT subcommittee has undertaken. Thirdly, a government services platform at eservice.gov.et, through which 176 types of services have been identified to be delivered from 34 government institutions, has been set up. So far, 6 institutions are already providing the services online, with the remaining to come on board. And lastly, an education platform for higher education has also been set up, while primary education curriculum is being delivered via radio throughout the country, and secondary education curriculum is also being delivered via television. In preparation for extreme eventualities that may arise as a cause of COVID-19, the National Resource Mobilization Subcommittee has also continued its work to set up food banks and is accumulating the required resources. In Addis Ababa alone, around 1,200 food banks have been set up to stockpile the needed food supplies for vulnerable sections of the society. And in concluding today's briefing, I would like to call upon all, including members of the international community, to strictly adhere to the measures that have been stipulated in the regulations as part of the state of emergency. Thank you very much.